as far back as I can remember, faith and participation in the church was a huge part of my life. I remember growing up in the church, it was every Sunday. I was blessed to have a mother, a grandfather, a grandmother, aunts and uncles who were all very invested in their faith and as well in my faith, my brother's faith. And so, as I think back about it, this tradition of really heavy involvement in the church was something that carried through with me all the way up into college. In my sophomore year, I chose to give my life to Christ and was baptized. I started teaching philosophy at a university, and my faith started to become secondary. This pursuit of knowledge, this pursuit of this career really took over control. And I started to put a lot more focus and emphasis into those things and never found a church. And my faith really started to dwindle. That lasted for much longer than I'm proud to admit. I then went on to law school and got married in law school, and Leslie, to her credit, reintroduced me to the church, and I started attending more, though I wouldn't say regularly, but started reinvesting in my faith. When I started practicing law, again, pursuit of career just took over everything. The same thing happened again. It wasn't until we started to have children that I started to recognize that I needed my faith back in my life, that I couldn't do this without Jesus. We were blessed with Charlotte Grace, who is just a wonderful and healthy child, and she's been great. But Truman, he's a wonderful child as well, but Truman's had a difficult beginning. Truman was born during the pandemic. We weren't even sure that I'd be able to be in the hospital with Leslie. We thought he was just this happy, calm little boy. As the months started to tick by, he was so little. And he wasn't growing. No matter how much we fed him, he wasn't growing. The pediatrician didn't hear anything, but performed some tests. And we found out that Truman actually had 3 holes in his heart. And blood would go in, and it would just stay. Just circulate and regurgitate in his heart. And it would come out. So his body was working so hard just to stay alive. His doctors diagnosed him as failure to thrive. And that was at about 10 months, well, about 8 months. We had quite a long period of shots and different things to make sure that he didn't contract any respiratory illness before we could undergo surgery to have the holes corrected, because it was clear they weren't closing on their own. So at 10 months old, Truman underwent open heart surgery, and I can still see the nurses taking him from us, and the double doors closing, and his little image walking down that hall. I just feel broken, no control. And I don't know if you know any attorneys, or if you are one, or if you're just somebody like me who likes to control things. That was really hard. We sat in that waiting room for hours as the doctors cut him open and sewed up two of the holes, but it was too dangerous to fix one of the others. So the hope was that it would heal on its own after the other 2 were fixed. And eventually he was done. We got to see him. The surgery was successful. We thought for the longest time that we were going to lose our son. No, I didn't know how to live with that. Now he's happy and healthy, but through all of that, if I had only turned to God and trying to find my strength. I wonder how different it would have been. I think that's part of what I needed for me to come back and say, I've hit rock bottom. God, I don't know where else to go. I can't do this on my own. I need you. I'll never forget it, and the emotions will always be there. But at least now I know that in these moments, I can find strength in him. And since then, it's been a whirlwind. God brought me back. Not only did I start attending church and my faith start growing just exponentially day by day, but he brought me into leadership. Ultimately, he said, hey, he's calling me to the ministry. You know, that's a big ask for somebody who's been a lawyer for 10 years. And I'm not sure what that means yet, and he'll tell me in his time. As part of that, my only option was to say yes, is to be obedient. To me, there was no other response. How could I do anything else? And so I'm pursuing seminary now and praying regularly that he'll continue to show me what each next step is. I'm Peter Montecuollo, and that's my story.